Hello, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. And today I'm so excited to get to interview a court reporter and have her tell you more about how it really is like. I'm talking with Lisa today, who I met through Marguerite, and I'm excited to learn more about her story today. So, could you start by introducing yourself?
My name is Lisa Claude Neal. I have a couple job titles. I'm an official reporter by day. In the evenings, I do a lot of freelance work, zoning work, depositions. I'm in the state of Pennsylvania, but I work in what we call the Tri-County area. So I have certifications in New Jersey, and I am able to work in the state of Delaware as well.
So, what do you like most about court reporting? What do you like about your position? And what do you like the least?
All right. Well, I think to give you just a little bit of backstory or back history, I started reporting in 1983. What I like the most about it, I like the fact that I do learn a lot.
Mm.
I know a little bit about everything. I just finished up a deposition where the experts knew everything about cement. And it was very, very educational for me. It was tough. It was hard when they started to use some of the terms, but I find that I know a little bit about everything. The things that make it hard that I don't like is when I've sat too long and I feel like my body feels like it's crunched up. That's the one drawback for me, and I know it has a lot to do with the fact that I've been doing it for a long time. So when I'm sitting in the chair, a lot of times I'll try to do little exercises that they don't realize that I'm stretching or,
Mm.
like doing my fingers a different way to help me to be able to make it through some of the longer testimony.
Oh yeah, I'm like months into school and I can already feel like the sitting is
Feel.
like so hard.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
And definitely what you said about learning, that was one of the reasons wanted to go into this because it seemed like you could just learn forever. Not only what you learn, what you like get to listen to, but like also like
Mhm.
you can keep learning stenography. Like it
Mhm.
doesn't end. You
It
can't
doesn't.
completely master it.
That's the truth. That is the truth. Because when I started reporting, we didn't have computers. So we didn't have dictionaries that were built for the computers.
Hmm.
So homonyms like two, and two, I wrote them all the same way. So I had to learn as I went through how to adapt to make it so that my job would be able to be done more efficiently. So yeah, it's constantly learning.
Wow. Well, actually, if we could like go way back and ask some questions about school, could you take me back to how did you decide to become a court reporter?
I graduated from high school in 1979. And when I was in school, we were doing shorthand. And the
Oh,
shorthand that I learned was called Pitman.
okay.
And so from a young age, I enjoyed listening and I enjoyed trying to get down what it was, the spoken word. I never liked math, grammar, English was always my forte. I love to write. And so it just seemed like it worked hand in hand. I knew nothing about court reporting. And one of my grandmother's coworkers, he said to her, your granddaughter should look into that court reporting. And so that was how I was able to start to even know that there was such a thing as court reporting. And I think that's one of the drawbacks to our professions is that a lot of times young people are never exposed to that as a career path. And so I was just very fortunate that that happened for me. At the time, they had brick and mortar schools everywhere. So I was able to go to Temple University here in Philadelphia. And so I started out for 6 months and I got my theory in that first 6 months. And I was offered a position or an opportunity, I'll say, to become a flight attendant. Loved it, did traveling, and it was fun. But every time that we would take off or land, or anytime I had a minute to myself, I would be going in my mind with my theory. Like, I would be thinking, and my fingers would just be constantly doing the theory. So, fast forward a year and a half, the company that I was working with, they went bankrupt.
Oh.
And once they went bankrupt, I hustled back into school And I was a natural up to a certain point. Court reporting, you have to have a certain kind of tenacity. And I was good all the way up until I got to about 100 and maybe 60 words a minute. And then I hit a brick wall. And I'll never forget, I looked around the room and I was like, who's passing these tests? And I saw that there was one girl who was excelling. And I asked her, I said, what are you doing? And she said, you want to pass the test? You want to get out of this course? And I was like, yeah, I want to get out of the course. She said, follow me, kid. And that girl and I would practice from morning until night. We would be on our machine from 9 o'clock in the morning till 12 o'clock in the afternoon. We would go and get lunch at 1 o'clock. We would come back. We would be there for the whole morning session of school. And then we would finish up in the evening and leave at 7 o'clock p.m. And then she would say, now don't forget when you get home, you have to do the 11 o'clock news. I can tell you without exaggeration, I was finished the course in like 6 months. She finished the course in 1 year. Her name is Julie, and I brag about her all the time. Julie's a
Wow.
Naris. So it took me the first 6 months, and then I want to say it was maybe about a year, year and a half. So that put me at 2 years at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And then once I knew the secret sauce, I was done. It was no time. I was done in no time.
With school, did you ever have to like do an internship?
We didn't have to go through an internship because what happened in the state of Pennsylvania back in the early 80s, there was a county that they were going to digital reporting.
Ooh.
So they had already let go all of the court reporters from the county to
No.
so that they could do this is back in the early 80s.
Wow.
And they had let go of the reporters. However, they were having problems with the transcripts. So now you have let go your staff and they needed people to fill those seats. And I was fortunate enough to start going right into it. Would I suggest that? No. I think that being a freelance reporter is very important for anybody that's thinking about going into officialship. But I was able to get my feet wet doing that. After I did that, I started really honing in on doing a lot more deposition work.
These next two questions are related. So, what was your worst reporting job and what was your best reporting job?
My worst reporting job was I was going to do a zoning hearing and I was leaving the courthouse and I got all the way to the location, which was about a good 45 minutes away from where I started out. And I looked in the back of the car and what was not there?
Oh
Yeah. I didn't have my machine. I didn't have my machine. And I was just like, oh my God, how can you
no.
I ch- I chalked that one up to fatigue because I was probably too tired. I should have been going home as opposed to going to a second job. So I went in there and I knew that they were going to need me to come through. So, and that's the one thing. Reporters will, especially when you work at a courthouse, it's almost like a bond because we all know that we are kind of like a sister or a brotherhood. And if somebody's machine breaks, it's like, oh, here, take mine, or oh, you don't feel good, okay, I'll go into court or whatever. So one girl that I knew lived close to the courthouse, I called her and I said, you're not going to believe this. And she was like, okay, she says, you start coming back. I'm coming towards you. I'm going to give you, you're going to use. So they waited for me. It took like 30 minutes,
Wow.
but they waited for me because, they had people waiting for that. So that was, yeah. It's like
On the flip side, what was your most memorable? Like, what's your highlight?
court reporters have to be very careful
Mm.
because if you think about what we do, we're only required for things that there's a conflict. There are things that have happened to the litigants that it's not that great. So I'll give you examples. In orphans court, either people have passed away and they're going over the estates, or maybe someone is incapacitated, meaning they have disabilities and they need to have a guardian ad litem. Those are sad things that are happening. When you're in juvenile court, you have children that have either parents that can't take care of them and the court has to find places for them to go, or they're just acting out and they're being taken away from their parents and put into a juvenile setting. In criminal court, we know that somebody's done something allegedly, so it can be, pretty tough. Family court, it's families being dissolved, or money being fought over. Civil court, they're fighting over money. It's all about, money. So when you think about what we do, even in a deposition setting, we have to make sure that we have a nice, even balance, a nice, even keel of our own mindset. So it's important. Whatever meditation you may do, yoga, walking, jogging, you have to keep yourself in a good mental place because court reporting can sometimes be a pretty dark place. The best part of court reporting are adoptions. I mean, to see maybe a mom who's in a new relationship and her new husband is willing to take the responsibility because the dad is no longer in the picture, or children that are in the system and they're looking for homes, and just the smiles on their faces. I mean, from little kids that come in. I always say that gives me goosebumps even sitting here right now when I think of the children that go through being, adopted. So those are the good memories that I have with
Oh,
court reporting. I enjoy that. And then the little girls come in with cute little dresses on, and the boys they have their little suits, or they have, so it does that. It brings me joy. That brings me joy.
that's
Yeah.
amazing. All right, so I guess we're coming to our last couple questions here, and just wanted to tie it up with your thoughts overall on just the industry in general. You've already seen many years of how court reporting has changed. What do you think is in the future for court reporting?
I think that the things that need to be done with NCRA is to make sure that we continue to be a viable profession, to make
Mm-hmm.
sure that they understand why it's important for a human ear to be able to tell what was being said. Don't be afraid of AI. AI will help us with getting the information that we need. So there's some good things about technology that's happening, but still people want a live body. They understand that AI is not gonna, it can't do it. It can't figure it out.
Thank you. So, is court reporting everything you thought it would be? Did it meet your expectations? How do you look back on your career?
Yeah. I had a wonderful career. I really did. I was able to, when I needed to, freelance while I was having my children in at that point in time. And then when I was ready to go back into the field, because my husband, he lost his job. And so we needed benefits. So I went out, got an officialship. So it offered me that was a very good thing. And I have been able to travel with my court reporting. I say if I was a couple of years younger, I would start doing things out of the country because there are so many assignments. They need people in France. They need people in Australia. They need, to go take depositions. To me, that's exciting. I would love to do that. Take my machine, have my machine, go take it down, come on back home, and do that. So that's exciting for me. So next month I'll be in South Carolina, which is a state that I've never been to, and my husband will come with me, and I'm doing a conference there for 4 days, and the conference, the hours that I'm going to be able to do it will allow us to still go out and taste the food and do different tours and things like that. So, has court reporting been good to me? Yep, it most certainly has. It really has, and I'm going to continue to court report until I can't anymore. I think I have maybe another 10 years left in me.
That's awesome. Yeah, that was one of the things that really made me confident to like pursue this path when I started,
Hmm.
is hearing many of you who have been court reporters for 30, 40 years, like saying that you
Hmm.
love your job and you still love your job. So you gave some like really great answers. I'm really thankful for all your insight. That
You're
was
welcome. You're
really
welcome.
great.
And you know I'm always around. I'm an open book. I'll tell you just like it is. And don't give up. Don't give up. Okay?
All right. Thank you so
Promise?
much. Yes, of
Promise?
course. Of course. I promise.
Pinky? Is it a pinky swear? Pinky swear. Where's my take care. It
All
was
right.
so good to
Thank you
see you
so much,
again.
Lisa, and I appreciate your time. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Just my quick week update. So, I'm now going into week 6, so we're over the halfway point for summer semester. Theory hasn't been too bad. We learned some concepts that I've already kind of sussed out, so it wasn't too bad. I knew them, I just haven't practiced them yet, so it's been great to put the practice in. And actually, the 2 other classes I'm taking this summer, transcript production and court procedures, really easy, no problem, and I've really felt quite unstressed, so it's been great, and I've been chugging along, working hard on my 15 hours every week. I know no one's counting, but I actually got behind 1 week with my videos, so this one is counting for both weeks 4 and 5, and I'll try to get back on my video grind 1 a week next week, so see you then.